And welcome to Mike Ferry TV. It is Christmas week 2015, the week of the 23rd. Hope you're getting a little time off. Remember, real people still work. Only real estate people stop working. Buyers and sellers keep buying and selling. Only real estate people aren't involved in those transactions. I'm not asking you to work on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I'm not asking you to work New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But the real world does work on New Year's Eve and on Christmas Eve. And the real world, of course, works the week between. So think about that as you prepare for your last part of the year. About 2 weeks ago in Anaheim, California, I was invited by Ron Cronin to come in at a sales talk workshop and spend a half an hour talking to the agents that were there. It was a fun event. We had a great group of people. It was what we call a toy drive. Some of you may have been there. We ask the agents to bring a toy that we donate to Toys for Tots through the military system. It's a huge success. We've been doing it for years, and it was so great to see so many of you participate. During that little time I was with him, I said to Ron, what do you want me to talk about? He said, it's up to you. So I wrote, as I always do, some notes for what I wanted to say that day to this great group of about 300 agents. So I wrote down for them, I said, what I want to talk about first as we wrap up the year is the three things you don't like about Mike Ferry training. Now, there's probably 100 things you don't like. There's three things that I know you don't like because we hear about it all the time, whether it be myself or our great speakers or our great coaches. So the three things we don't like about Mike Ferry training. Number one, Mike always wants me talking to people that I know and talking to people that I don't know. And I wish I didn't have to do that. Well, you know, we've talked about prospecting for only 40 years, and I know you hate the word, so let's call it lead generation. But let's take a different approach. Let's say that you're not going to do the kind of things we talk about for lead generation. And let's say you decide to hold open house. Do you have to talk to the people when they walk in? Of course you do. And should you be asking pre-qualified questions? Of course you should. All right, let's say you decide to pass up pumpkins in your geographic farm. Are you going to leave them on the doorstep or are you going to knock on the door? You're going to knock on the door, they answer the door. Are you going to talk to them? Of course you are. You're buying your leads off the internet. Are they calling you when you buy the list or do you have to call them? See, no matter how you try to deny it, if you're not willing to talk to people, you're not in the sales business, period. And I know that all my competitors are all this year and the last 20 years telling you, you don't have to prospect to succeed in real estate. Believe me when I tell you, if you buy that one, 2016 is going to be a tough year. Why? Because unless you're in communication talking to people all the time, you can't succeed because we are in the people and communication business. Number two that we don't like about Mike Ferry training, he keeps insisting that we use canned presentations, which is what I'm using today. I wrote down an outline of what I wanted to say to you today. It's a canned presentation. I had the same notes when I spoke to Ron's group a couple weeks ago. Now, here's the catch. Every time you talk to a prospect, every time you make a presentation, you say the same thing. You always do. You know it and I know it. Aren't you, in essence, using a canned presentation? If you say the same thing time and time again, and it's repetitive, it's a canned presentation. My belief is you need to improve the quality of your canned presentation. Need to put better ingredients in the can so you get a better response from your presentation. You go out and you say, I wing it. I say what's ever on my mind. I respond with what if nothing's on your mind. You always have something to say. What we work on is improving the quality of what you say to get a better response, to get a higher percentage of buyers and sellers to sign contracts with you. It's not complicated. But then the third thing that people don't like about Mike Ferry training, and I wrote it down this way, they don't like being told what to do. And of course, we're the original coaching company in real estate. All my competitors claim they're number one, and they're the original. Watch, you're looking at the original. We started this in the late 80s, okay, before some of our competitors were born, for God's sakes. And ever since we started, we have talked about the fact that if you're not willing to accept being told what to do, it's hard to then go out and perform. Why? Because in any job, you have a boss, you have a superior, you have a leader, you have a person that's in charge, and that person's going to tell you what to do. Why did you go into real estate? Because you didn't want to be told what to do. For goodness sakes, how stupid is that? And we see it all the time. For goodness sakes, if you're going to be out working every day to get listings and make sales, you have to accept the guidance, the advice, the words, the terminology of somebody telling you what to do. And if you're not going to do that, guess what? I had a conversation this morning with a young guy from LA, and the truth is, he calls me every 6 months for some free advice. And then I tell him what to do and he doesn't like it. Well, I tell him, why do you keep calling? I'm doing a free coaching session. I get paid a lot of money to tell people what to do. I do it for you every probably twice, 3 times a year for free. And then you still don't do what I ask. Think about this. The people that do what they're told succeed at the highest level. If you have kids, you tell your kids what to do. Do you expect them to do it? Or are your kids at age 3, 5, 7, and 9 already independent contractors like yourself? So those are the 3 things that really bother people about what I teach. It's not going to get better in 2016 than it was in 2015. But the second part of what I did with Ron's group was, what do people like best about what I teach? And that was a fun one to look at. And the answer was 2 words: production and income. Production and income. People like the fact that if they take the scripts, the dialogues, the techniques, the plans we have, and they follow them every day, they get listings, they make sales. And as a result, they have closings, they get paychecks. I talked to probably on a normal day 15 to 20 of our clients. Talking to the fellow this morning from Northern California, he only did about 20 deals, but he makes $15,000 per deal. He likes it a lot. He likes that income. So what we talked about was trying to get that production doubled, which we both know, he and I, that he can do. Well, people love the results. You would like to have better results. If you want better results, you have to have a better plan and better input. So what do we like about what I teach and have done with so many of you this year? Production and income. So I want to say this to you. This has been an exciting year for us because we surpassed, and I'm not 100% correct in numbers, but someplace since we started Mike Ferry TV, way in excess of 1 million people watching our little TV show. Well over 1 million people. That's a lot of people. And we know that there is a handful of you, thankfully, that watch this on a regular basis, and we appreciate that a lot. So as long as you keep watching, we'll keep producing these little shows for you. And you'll notice most of my competitors now have a little TV show of some type, and most of them do, because my job, and I want you to listen carefully, in 2016 is to continue to create ideas to help you produce, and I have to continue to create at a faster pace than my competition steals the ideas that I have and repackages and sells them to you. So my job is to create better ways for you to work, better ways for you to produce. And if you watch Mike Ferry TV next year, you go to our seminars, our retreats, the workshops. Some of you will be with us in January in Las Vegas, the production retreat. You're going to see again another whole set of ideas on how to become a great presenter. How do you get the highest response? Well, my job is to keep producing ideas to help you produce. Your job is to keep watching. Keep watching, keep listening, keep learning. And depending upon where you're coming from, I'm going to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, or whatever way you choose to celebrate. I hope you have a fun time, rewarding time, and safe time. We'll talk to you again the first week in January.